This is something we talked about yesterday, and I reran the numbers last night because we were trying to do some numbers. We were talking about that 3,500 tap, and remember, like 54 acres. I use $2,000 an acre because that's an easy thing. If you want to go $1,000, cut this stuff in half. But I did just map that out. $108,000 loan. We were talking about the rent. What did somebody say the rental rate they heard in Franklin was like $4 a tap, right? So, which will be interesting. Look at these numbers. So if we did it at $2,000 an acre, annual payment $15,000. That's cash, right? So now we're talking just cash out the door. Someone's got to have payment capacity for $15,000 a year. The interest on that's $4,200 a year, right? That's the cost of renting that money from the bank. So if we just looked at the interest payment alone, we're at $1.20 a tap. So that's kind of like a nice little, I think, a benchmark there for like, do I want to rent? Do I want to own? It's like, okay, well, the interest alone on that is going to be $1.20. I use 7% on that. 7% on 10 years. Principal payment, $10,800, right? So this is where we get into that idea of, do I want to rent or do I have the capacity to own? What I call the short game is, can I make cash flow? And then the long game is, what's going on with my balance sheet? How much equity can I generate over time? Let's assume I can find a way to create the cash. So I did just break those out a little bit. So that's the interest payment alone, $120, and then principal, not quite $11,000. So $3.10 a tap principal. So I was kind of adding that up. I was like, oh, interesting. That's about a little over $4 a tap. So the idea, well, here, right, at $4.30 a tap, you could actually be buying the land yourself, potentially renting it out at whatever that space is between $1.20 a tap and that $4 a tap we heard. You could possibly be renting that out to generate some of the principal payment, kind of from an investment strategy. And again, we got to kind of figure out which person are you going to be in this dynamic? Are you going to be the leaser looking for the rate, or are you going to be the landowner and you have the capacity to kind of make this capital activity happen? So this doesn't, I think this is getting into that idea of that like lease it or own it analysis. And these are some of the metrics that we'd be playing with on that.